Everybody out to the All Good City Council meeting scheduled for November the 15th, 2016. We'll begin with a roll call.
Honorable Mayor Bilbrey.
Present.
Honorable Vice Mayor Dyer.
Present.
Honorable Councilwoman Norris.
Present.
Honorable Councilwoman Green.
Present.
Honorable Councilman Hurd.
Present.
Our invocation will be led by Lewis Bryant.
Our great and eternal Father in heaven, we come before you now this evening to thank you for the opportunities and blessings that we have. And we ask that you will be with the meeting this evening, and we ask that you will continue to bless this community and this nation as we go forward in days ahead. And again, we thank you for the opportunities we have, and we ask that you will forgive us when we sin and help us to glorify you in all that we do. We ask this in your Son, Jesus Christ's name. Amen.
Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Roger Williams.
To the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda tonight is to consider the agenda and the minutes. I think everybody's had a chance to review the agenda. Is there any questions?
I'll make a motion.
Yeah. Have a motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Green.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval of minutes of the City Council meeting held on October the 18th, 2016. I think everybody's had a chance to review those. Is there any discussion?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer.
Yes.
Honorable Norris.
Yes.
Honorable Green.
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item is consider approval to enter into an interlocal corporate agreement with the district attorney and the All Good Police Department to participate in the 13th Judicial District Task Force. Chief, would you like to speak to that first?
Actually, that was the thing that was brought up last month.
Right.
The attorney should talk about that.
Right.
Express myself.
I was going to give him a chance too, but you come on up, General.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Bryant Dunaway. I think I know everybody on the council, but for formality purposes, my name is Bryant Dunaway. I'm the District Attorney General. And I'm here tonight because I understood that the council may have had some questions regarding the nature of the interlocal agreement and what the DTF, or the Drug Task Force, is all about. So would you like me to just give some introductory remarks about the organization and then follow up with any questions?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, so by statute, TCA allows for District Attorneys General to coordinate the formation of what we informally call the Drug Task Force, what we formally call the 13th Judicial District Drug and Violent Crimes Task Force. And what that is my judicial district is 7 counties. So it includes Putnam County and 6 other counties. That's the 13th Judicial District. And that statute allows me to coordinate the formation with the local governments within those 7 counties, a drug task force. And that has been in place since I was elected a couple of years ago. And so what it requires for an agency to participate is for the local governments, whether that be the county or the municipality, to enter into as a partner in the interlocal cooperation agreement. I provided a copy of that agreement to your city attorney for his review. Nobody's asking for any action tonight. I'm just here really to answer questions. So really, what is the benefit of a drug task force and how does it work? I'll tell you that next. And so what happens and how we currently have it organized is different than it used to be organized in years past. Used to be there were police agencies and sheriff's departments who would designate a deputy or a police officer to be full-time working for the task force. And so it took them away from their duties, for example, at the All Good Police Department. And so that was a struggle for many small departments, frankly. And so we don't have the Drug Task Force organized in that way anymore. Really what we do is we designate members of the Drug Task Force who are also Cookeville police officers and Putnam County deputies and Clay County deputies and Salina police officers and Crossville police officers, all across the district as members of the Drug Task Force. And they investigate drug and violent crimes within their own jurisdiction. If I used All Good as an example, if you had a member on the task force, they would work every day, as they normally do, about drug investigations within the city of Algood. But we all know that drug dealers and violent crimes don't stop at the city limits of Algood. And so what this drug task force does, as it's currently formed, is expand the jurisdiction of those task force agents to my entire district, that being the 7 counties. So a member of the Algood Police Department who may be a member of the drug task force would have the same law enforcement authority if they were a member of this drug task force in Clay County or Overton County or Cumberland County as they do here in your own municipality, legally. Right now, your municipal police officers just have law enforcement authority within your corporate or municipal city limits as a general rule. So what that allows you to do is follow drug investigations into the city of Cookeville, across the line into Rickman. So if you have an Algood police officer who's working on a drug case and they set up to buy in Rickman, well, that's in a different county. And that Algood officer has no jurisdiction to go to Rickman to make that drug deal. And so now this allows the members of the task force to work together to follow the drug investigations throughout the 7 county district. That's really in a nutshell what it does. It gives legal jurisdiction to the members of the task force into the entire 7 counties. And so what we do is if Algood has an investigation that leads into Overton County, then our drug task force agents that are maybe a member of the Algood Police Department, under our agreement, have to contact the agents on the task force that are members of the Overton County Sheriff's Department or the Livingston Police Department, and then they work together on that investigation as they cross into county lines. And they all have the same law enforcement jurisdiction. So it's a tool, it's a practical tool that allows law enforcement to have a broader scope in drug and violent crime investigations. So that's a mouthful, so now I'll hush and let you ask any questions you may have.
If I may, Mr. Mayor, first of all, thank you for coming.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
There's been some speculation that were we to offer one of our officers for the judicial task force, that we would never see that officer again. Can you elaborate on that a little bit more,
Sure,
please?
that is absolutely not the case. So let me give you an example. We have the current interlocal agreement, and it's been in existence for a couple of years. All 7 counties are a party to it. Not every city, but most of the cities in the jurisdiction, in my judicial district, are members of it, to include Livingston, Salina, Crossville, Cookeville, Smithville, Sparta. All of those municipal governments are a party, and I've already signed the agreement. And so, answer your question specifically, that is the way the drug task force used to be organized.
Okay.
So if, under the old way, you would assign a Algood police officer to the drug task force, and they would go and work with the task force, and they wouldn't be available for patrol here in Algood or investigations here in Algood. That's not the way we do it anymore. The agent would still work every day under the chief's direction and do his assigned duties. And as he or she comes across a drug investigation or violent crime investigation that were to cross over outside of the Algood city limits, then they have the jurisdiction to follow that investigation, and also they have a team of people that they're used to working with that they can call on to help follow that investigation outside the Algood city limits on that particular case. And the same is true. It's a resource for Algood as well. For example, in a town this size, even in Cookeville area, drug dealers kind of get to know the faces of law enforcement, and they know who. It's kind of hard to buy drugs from undercover people. So we utilize a task force agent out of Smithville to come up here and work some days on a drug investigation and have a fresh new face and try to work drugs. So the other ones come here and they just work in cooperation with each other. But we do not pull them out of their home agency. In fact, we really want them to take care of their own backyard first, and then go outside as needed as it leads somewhere else. So does that answer your question?
Yes, sir, it does. But like I said, it was just a concern that was raised per the old agreement, as you
Absolutely.
explained.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, when I came into office in 2014, I revamped the whole thing and redrafted this agreement. So, not asking the council to approve it tonight. The process is this: this council would have to approve the participation and agree to sign the document. It requires the signature, approval of the council, then I'll ask for the mayor's signature, the city attorney's signature, and the chief's signature on the document. And then the board, I'll tell you this, the board that governs the drug task force, it's not just me, I'm on the board obviously, but when I changed this, I expanded the board. It used to be a 4-member board before I took office, and now I have all department heads that participate as members of the board. So all 7 sheriffs and every police chief of every police department that is participating in the drug task force. So I would be asking Chief Harris to become a member of the board should this council approve participation, so that you would have a voice and know what's going on.
And these agreements run for what length of
Perpetual.
time?
Well,
Okay.
they would run,
Okay,
the language of the current agreement says it runs perpetually, but in practical terms, as long as I'm the DA, it would be perpetual, but it would certainly not change during the term of the district attorney,
right.
which are 8-year terms.
And this is a question I just thought of. Let's say we go ahead and agree to this and an officer is assigned after an extended period, whether it's a year or so. If he decides that he wants to move out and we want to move another one in, is that?
Absolutely. The only thing I would need, once this council were to approve participation and sign off on the document, that's the only formal need right now. After that, the chief, all I need is a letter from him saying, I want Officer Jones to be a task force member. The board would vote and approve that. Or he might say, I want to take Officer Jones off and put a different officer on the task force. And that would just be an informal request from the chief.
Okay.
And the board would approve that or disapprove.
So it's not just that we're maybe looking at it, losing an officer, or we would never see him again. We're getting representation on your board.
You are
And
getting
we're-
and
We're getting more officers, more members helping our officers with a case that would be worked
that's
here.
true. You would have resources that, and we do this often. Let me give you an example. We had a drug investigation here in the Cookville area not long ago, and we needed a female officer that was young. And Salina Police Department happens to have a young-looking female police officer who came down here for a day and helped us with that investigation, an undercover investigation, and that's very helpful. And then she went right back to her normal job duties. So those are the types of things that we do. Bring in fresh faces from across the district as needed.
Any questions?
Any other questions that you have?
Thank you.
So I've already given your city attorney that, and so I assume he'll be reviewing that and asking any questions legally that you may have of him. And maybe on a subsequent council meeting, there's no hurry on this. The council could put that on our agenda for approval, would be my request. So, thank you.
Have you looked at it, Mr. Hatfield?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
What's your opinion of it?
I think it's, as far as form, legality, any onerousness that it may put on us, I think it's a good idea. I think it's something we should go forward with.
I'm sorry.
Be fine.
So our fine former chief here reminded me of a topic you might want to be interested in, and it is very relevant. So occasionally when we do drug investigations, there is property that is seized. Sometimes there's drug money that's seized. Sometimes we have cars seized that are used in drug investigations. And so the way this agreement is drafted, the agencies who are directly involved in that investigation would equitably share in that seizure. Not all 7 counties. Is that clear?
Yes.
So, by way of example, if you had a drug investigation that initiated here in Allgood, and it crossed the line into Overton County, and so the agents that are members of the task force that are Overton deputies and the Allgood drug task force agents are working together, that would have nothing to do with Clay County. So if there happened to be a forfeiture or a seizure related to that investigation, any proceeds that happen to be awarded to the government agencies would be equitably shared between Allgood and Overton County in that situation. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yes, sir.
So only the jurisdictions that are touched by that particular investigation would share in any proceeds from a forfeiture. is the way we have it currently drafted.
Okay.
Sorry to interject.
Okay.
That's right.
Chief, you want to speak on any of it? No? You good? Okay. Is there any discussion tonight on it?
I believe you covered everything I was wanting to know.
Okay. Do you want to move forward with a motion, or we want
I'll
to
make a
table?
motion,
Make a motion
move
to
forward,
move
accept
forward?
the agreement.
We have a motion to accept the agreement as presented. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion second, roll call vote?
Mayor Bilbrey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer?
Yes.
Honorable Norris? Yes. Honorable Green?
Yes.
Honorable Hurd?
Yes.
That brings us to new business. First item on new business is consider approval to purchase 8 AR-15s from a certain vendor in the amount of whatever that comes to, including accessories as identified in a bid proposal document. Chief, would you like to speak to that?
Actually, I'm gonna have Mr. Wallace, he's actually the range manager, and he's done all the research on this, and we're gonna get that.
Sir, you'll notice in your packet, did you include those? quotes? Okay. Some of those exceeded the $8,000 mark, and some were definitely under. The only two that actually met our specs for bid were Arms Unlimited and GT Distributors. Of course, Arms Unlimited was the cheaper of the two, and that's the one that I recommended for the chief to get. And by purchasing these, it would actually round out our complement of AR-15 so that all the officers would actually have a rifle.
How many do we currently have?
Currently, sir, we have 7.
Thank you.
And also, one officer is using his personal rifle.
Is that one of the 7?
No, sir.
Okay.
The city owns 7 AR-15s, and one officer is using his personal.
Okay. Is the money appropriated already for this?
The money would be coming from the drug fund, which we have the money in the drug fund to do that, and I believe we
To pay for all of them, right?
pay for all of it.
Okay.
Lieutenant, in their vehicles, where do they keep the AR-15s? Are they in the trunk, and are they loaded, a bullet not in the chamber?
Actually, sir, we don't carry with one in the chamber, and they do have locks inside the patrol cars for the rifle.
Like, oh, yeah.
How many bids did you receive back on this, Lieutenant? 2 or 3? 4?
1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5, actually, sir.
But only a couple met the specs that you
Yes,
required?
sir. As you can see, some of them were cheaper, but when you got into the nuts and bolts about what I was requiring them to have, there was only 2 that actually met what I was requiring them to put on the rifle. And basically what that is, you know, so we can mount lights on the weapons, slings, that kind of thing.
Well, one concern was night vision for them. Of course, if you're using open sights, they're
There's no purpose for that.
right.
Yeah,
And the other thing is, weapons are like everything else. You get what you pay for.
exactly, yes, sir.
So,
And that's what I've kind of weeded through. The ones that I'm looking at, that I was recommending, they're actually Colt brand, and they're good rifles, so.
Any discussion?
your personal preference out of all of these is the Colt brand?
Yes, sir. This quote from Arms Unlimited. I
Okay.
think this provides us the most bang for our buck, so to speak.
Okay.
It rides the edge of value, and like you said, you get what you pay for.
And again, this will be taken care of out of the drug fund, chief?
Yes, sir.
So it's not coming from any taxpayer money.
No added expense.
Plus, it provides safety for your officers.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Well,
In today's world, I mean, it's not fair to ask officers to respond to certain situations just a sidearm.
Right. We don't want to take a knife to a gunfight,
Exactly.
so they need to be equipped the same. Okay?
well, I'll make a motion that we approve the purchase of 8 AR-15s from Arms Unlimited for the Colt LE 6920 in the amount of, is that correct, Lieutenant, $69,9984?
Yes, sir.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Have a motion and second on the floor. Roll call vote?
Mayor Bilbrey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer?
Yes.
Honorable Norris? Yes. Honorable Green?
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item is consider approval to declare the 2007 Harley Police Motorcycle VIN number 1HD1F MM107Y663186 as surplus to be sold to an agency or by auction. Chief, you want to speak to that, or?
This would be the, one of the two that we got from the LISO program. Of course, we put a considerable amount of money into repairing those vehicles and using them, and, Officer Dean still using his quite a bit. The one that I've been using is actually, we had some mechanical problems, and it seems to be costing us more than than what it's worth. So my suggestion before we've already spent like $3,000 on it this year. Well, that's both the bikes, but $3,000 on the motorcycle repair this year. In March, the Governor's Highway Safety Office has a grant that comes available possibly for the purchase of those motorcycles. And I've talked to them since we participated in that program, and I'm thinking that we may be able to get that grant, which would get us 2 new motorcycles at no cost to the agency for the city.
At least keep the maintenance costs down. We'll keep our maintenance costs down, so. Okay.
Of course, the other motorcycle, being still used it on a daily basis, so I'm gonna keep it, and it's actually running good.
Okay. All right. Any discussion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Motion second on the floor. Roll call vote?
Mayor Bilbrey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer?
Yes.
Honorable Norris? Yes. Honorable Green?
Yes.
Honorable Hurd.
Yes.
Next item, consider approval to declare 5 12-gauge shotguns, an Hawk 982, serial number 62122, a Benelli Nova, serial number Z220176, Z220184, Z204193, and a Stevens 320, serial number 143907F as surplus to be traded to an authorized dealer for fair market value in auction. Chief, you want to speak to that?
Actually, Lieutenant Wallace, I don't know if he can explain what we're doing, why we're doing it.
Once again, it's like Vice Mayor Dyer said, you get what you pay for. Some of these shotguns were purchased at a very low price range. They're basically Norinco. It's a Chinese Remington 870. And we went to the range a few years ago, and a lot of them malfunctioned. They locked up after about 4 or 5 rounds. And so I can't, in good conscience, put those on the road for our officers. So the purpose and intent in declaring all these shotgun surplus is to actually trade them in for a shotgun that will function and is of good quality. So that's the purpose and intent for doing that.
So you're trading these in credit for the new ones, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Essentially, that's what we
Have you
like to
spoken
do.
to the dealer to see what kind of deal they're
Not
gonna
yet,
be able
sir.
to
I was
give?
waiting to see, to make sure they're all declared surplus, so I can actually show the dealer, this is what I've got, what can you give me?
You have any idea who you're looking at going with?
No, sir. I'm gonna first start looking at Gulf States and, GT distributors. Typically, they deal with law enforcement more frequently.
I saw a bid in here from Craig's Firearms.
Yes,
They
sir. Yeah,
also do
those
the
two.
same
Yes,
thing.
sir.
Okay.
I hate to put you on the spot, but best guess, what would you say those weapons are worth?
I've looked at them. If they would give us in the neighborhood of 150 to 200, I could outfit our department with 4 Mossberg 5.9s, and that would put 1 per shift. So,
Along with the AR-15s.
correct, yes,
So,
sir. And the primary purpose of the shotgun nowadays is door breaching, less lethal delivery, stuff like that. So they're starting to be phased out in favor of AR-15. They still have a purpose in law enforcement, just not as prominent.
It's still a deterrent.
It is, it's still a very effective weapon, it's just, it's not as effective in crowded areas.
Right.
Is it something you're looking at in the future to increase your supply to all the officers of shotgun, or are you just looking to keep one per shift?
Right now, I'm just looking at one per shift.
Is that assigned to an officer and taken home when he goes home, or, because if that officer's off duty, say it's his day off, then you've got other folks that don't have that.
Well, it would be, no, sir, we run 4 shifts, 4 patrol shifts, so there'd be 1 shotgun on days and then nights, days and nights.
So it's not assigned to a certain officer.
It will be, yes, sir.
So if that officer's off,
Oh, correct, yes,
then your gun's off.
right, exactly. That is a problem, but eventually we could further that complement through other purchases. This just fixes, it gets the ball rolling towards that end. And that way too, we don't have all these shotguns just hanging out.
Okay. Any discussion?
That might be a case of where, we go to a storage type system where that officer comes off duty, sign it in and out under lock and key, and sign it in and out when he comes back on duty. So there's not the issue of not one being on a particular shift if an officer's off or he's sick or whatever. So I'm sure you guys worked that out, but
What would you say price per gun you're looking at when you?
Like I said, ideally, if they would give somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 to 200 per shotgun, I think that would be enough money to acquire new shotguns.
How are you gonna determine who gets to carry it every day?
Well, initially, what I'd like to do is get it to a supervisor, because of, with that comes extra responsibility, for, say, breaching the door or even deploying the shotgun.
So your supervisor's gonna be breaching the door?
If necessary, yes, sir.
Okay. Well, why don't we look at doing this out of the drug fund like we did the ARs? And everybody have one. Keeping your supervisor out of the doorway and back where you can,
We could do that, yes, sir.
Is this something you just want, we could possibly table until you get more information? Or do you just
Well,
want a surplus to start the whole?
Initially, we could do that out of the drug fund, but here's what I was looking at. This clears, right now, those shotguns are just sitting down there. This way, it gets them out of the supply room and, actually gets them used for a purpose.
and all the while replacing them hopefully with 4 new ones and
And then we
to
can
move
like you
on
said, then we can
maybe
look
to
further
6
down the
or 8.
road about acquiring more.
what I was looking at is you might get a better deal when you're doing your ARs and your shotguns if you're buying it all together. If that looks like, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Instead of buying 8, you'd be buying whatever you gotta buy. You might get a better deal, saving more tax dollars that way. Or if it's coming out of the drug fund, then it's not a citizens taxpayer money anyway.
Correct.
However, we can still consider these surplus.
Oh, yeah.
To get those out of there. I'll make a motion that we consider make a motion to declare these weapons listed as surplus.
I'll second. We have a motion second on the floor, roll call vote.
Mayor Bilbrey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Dyer?
Yes.
Honorable Norris?
Yes.
Honorable Green?
Yes.
Honorable Hurd?
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to our city administrator's report. Keith?
The budget numbers comparative for the month is 33%. General fund revenues are at 24.15% at $880,528.94. General fund expenses are at 22.72%. That's $868,964.90. The water sewer revenue is at 35.82%. That's $561,975.31. Water sewer expense is at 28.63%. It's $452,001.08. Total account balances currently are $8,096,819.86. The Christmas parade is set for December the 3rd, 2016 at 5 p.m. The next parade meeting will be November the 28th, 2016 at 5 p.m. here at City Hall. City Hall will be closed November 24th and 25th in observance of Thanksgiving. Residential trash for the Thursday, November the 24th, will run 1 day early on Wednesday, November the 23rd. The All Good Angel Tree Program is out, and we're accepting applications for needy families here in All Good. And the angels will be on the Walmart Christmas tree up near the service desk if anyone would like to purchase those and return those wrapped gifts here to City Hall. We've got 4 discussion items on here. One is the citizen comment ordinance for council meetings that Vice Mayor Dyer asked for last month. A couple months ago, you had asked to review the community center rental policy, so I've put that in here. Old City Hall, the roof is losing some shingles. Bill, that owns the barbershop, had asked what we were going to do with that. He was looking at re-roofing his portion, but wanted to know what the city was going to do with our portion of the roof, and also we need to address what we're going to do with the building. And then we've got a preliminary fire hall plan in here for you all to look at and discuss tonight.
Okay. First item is citizens' comments ordinance for the council meeting. I think,
Mr. Hatfield, you have an opportunity to look
Yes.
at the legalities of that, sir.
Yes, sir. Keith obtained a few templates to start from other municipalities, and kind of compiled the best parts of those into a potential ordinance. He then transferred that to me along with all the other parts that he used. I went through them myself, made a couple slight amendments, and this is in your packet. The ordinance listed as 60515. You can see some of the highlighted portions where I've either amended or added to secure the meaning of the ordinance and shore up the enforceability of the ordinance. That comes by way of ordinance 60515 that's there in front of you.
How close is this to Cookville ordinance?
I contacted Cookville, and they couldn't provide an ordinance on council meeting flow. Said that they adhere to a 3-minute rule, and that was all I could get out of them. The copies that we pulled from, one of these is the city of Kimball. One of these, I believe, is from Crossville. And the 61216 is the ordinance that I put together that I felt like matched what you all had requested last month. And I sent 605-15 that we'd wrote several months together with this. And this is what John is going off of as the city attorney. He was looking at that one. More seriously, you want to address that?
And Councilwoman Green, I think maybe possibly what you may be getting at, as far as replicating what they do or seeing what they do. Municipalities across the state are across the board on this. When you've got a window of there's no rules whatsoever and anyone can speak for any amount of time versus some municipalities have absolutely 0 comments from citizenry. What you get is, of course, a wide breadth of versions of this same thing. A lot of the language was similar throughout, but the one that we've gone with to present to you is the one that we feel to be the most expansive as far as its base goes, to ensure that the council has full authority and breadth to limit those discussions that come forth.
All right, thank you.
well, it was originally discussed to provide the answers to the questions that they had, not to limit them from speaking. Is that not right, Vice Mayor?
Yeah,
No, and if I may interject, not limit what they're saying or the message that they're getting across, just limiting, and this can be worked out as far as the times that you all would like to go with, as far as limiting it so that there's control there, not limiting it so that anyone doesn't get their point across.
originally I'd talked about members of the community submitting any questions they may have for the council or city manager or city attorney prior to the council meeting, whether it be a 2-week window or whatever, but that seems to be the norm, a 2-week window, so that we could ascertain what those answers may be to questions, and no offense at all intended, but where the citizens not waiting that month, maybe to come back next time and get your legal answer on that, or Keith digging for a month at a time and submitting that answer. And originally, that's what I'm driving at here with this request. So,
And that is the positive flip side of this. It's the notice beforehand, so that, if an issue is first presented to me for the first time and I haven't had any chance to look at it, it would be foolhardy of me to provide an answer, a
Correct.
response. At the same time, I don't want to be overbilling all good, responding to every question that could come out.
right.
So this way, like you were saying, we do have that notice. An issue can be brought up and the city can get it to me, and then hopefully I'll be able to have a response as that next meeting comes on, as opposed to having to delay one more month.
Which one of these ordinances, the 605-15 or the 612-16, is the one that more fitting to what Vice Mayor Dyer is looking at? Which ones of those? I mean, is it the 16?
I believe it's 605-15, but both ordinances accomplish the same goal. It's just the way you want to get there.
I believe what the attorney's trying to say is 605 has more detail. 612 was my latest draft
Okay.
that I felt like would meet what you all had requested, to give you a couple of samples to look at, as well as the copies from Crossville and Blaine and Kimball that I included in an email back in October for you all to review. These 612-16 and 605-16 address how items may be placed on the agenda. Any citizen wishing to address the governing body about issues not on the agenda may do so during the citizen comment section of the agenda by filing a request to be added to the agenda. Requests from citizens must be filed by noon on Monday, 1 week prior to the scheduled meeting. Detailed information, including subject matter and any attachments as to show intent about presentation of the council, will be required prior to being placed on the agenda. Insufficient detail will result in being placed on the following month's agenda. Citizen comments about items on the agenda shall be permitted during the discussion of the item on the agenda. No presentations may be made to the governing body at a meeting unless the presenters complied with the provisions of this subsection. However, the governing body, by the affirmative vote of at least a simple majority of those council members present, may agree to hear the matter.
And I see in that 16, it's citizens' comments about, 3 citizens' comments made about items on the agenda shall be permitted during the discussion of the item on the agenda. That's not limiting them to where we open it up to citizens' discussions and or delegations. Is that correct? It just, we can't provide them an answer. Is that the way this is written? Okay. In the other one, the 605-15, I noticed it says limit them to 3 minutes. Does that get the 3 minutes in this one too? I didn't
The
see it in there.
612 does not have the 3 minutes. It
Okay.
says, discussion by citizens, all speakers not addressing an item on the agenda will be required to submit a request to be added to the agenda, and all speakers shall respectfully address the mayor.
Okay.
We can just add the 3-minute rule to that one, couldn't we? If we decided to go with the 16?
You can add anything you want to it. That's why I was just trying to figure out if it was in there.
These are just discussions, so at this point, any changes that you all want to make could be changed, and then first reading would come up after we get to a final conclusion of what you all want this to look like.
I just think the 3-minute rule, of course, you don't want somebody speaking for 30 minutes, and we need to have some way to limit that. I don't know that 3 minutes is a thing, and that's opposite of what Vice Mayor was trying to say when he was quoted in the paper, when he said everybody has their God-given right to speak at the meeting, and these meetings are their meetings. We were elected to do what they wanted. Not that we're trying to shut them up, so to speak, but I think they ought to have a right to speak. As long as we're not speaking all night, there needs to be a limit. I just don't want to go against what the Vice Mayor was initially trying to do, is to provide a service and give them the right answers in a timely manner.
I think it's just to secure, not to have an attack brought on us, a surprise attack.
Yeah.
we worked off the 3-minute rule, or the 3 minutes when, Terry Fouch was here. And I started with that, so I mean, we were done used to it. So I like the 3 minutes.
Well, again, initially, it was to be able to provide citizens with answers to any questions, whether they be legal, whether they fall under the purview of the city manager, whether they fall under the purview of the police chief, the public works director, or whomever it may be, and giving a time frame to submit those questions in order for us to have that answer at the next available council meeting. In order also to keep people from having to wait a month at a time, if you will, for an answer. It has been suggested that, and wrongfully so, I will make that statement, it has been suggested that this was no more than an attempt by me to squelch or squash people's rights to speak in an open and public meeting. And again, nothing could be further from the truth. So those comments and/or letters that have been passed around town are nothing more than a farce, and I do resent them personally. But that having been said, that is the spirit of which I brought this up, and that is the spirit of which I continue to try to make this, whether it be passed as an ordinance or not, that is the spirit of which it was intended. I have no real issue with either ordinance that's in front of us. Personally, again, to stay in the spirit of which I originally brought this matter before everybody. So I don't have anything else to say on that matter.
Okay. Any other discussion, comments on that? Okay. Brings us to the next discussion item, community center rental policy. Keith, would you like to speak on that?
I've been asked to address this. The community center rents for $100 per day must be paid at time of reservation. Functions such as dances, sock hops, and any personal for-profit functions such as home interior or Tupperware shows cannot be accommodated. The community center is maintained by all good City Hall personnel. Any problem should be reported to City Hall. Of course, All Good Police Department unlocks and locks the premises and checks it. Tables and chairs be placed back in the original position, and all garbage should be placed in the dumpster behind the building. Absolutely no alcoholic beverages allowed. In paying for this rental fee, they agree they're responsible for maintaining the center. You had asked to review this. This is what we currently abide by. We've also had several inquiries about using City Hall, this room specifically. So I wanted to bring that up and see how you all would wish to address that.
When's the last time we had a sock hop?
I'm not sure on that. The for-profit functions, legally, I'm not sure if we can allow that or not. Can we do that, John?
Allowing them?
Yes. And since it's a government building, I don't know that we can allow for-profit events.
I know what you mean, the selling of items or for resale or whatever. But,
Right.
I guess the biggest question I have is that a fair amount per day? I mean, to charge for the rental?
Well, we rent it pretty regularly. I mean,
Yeah.
it rents. It's not uncommon for it to be rented every weekend of the month.
Well, I've
sometimes
seen
it's not.
Very
Just
few
depends.
weekends when it's not been rented.
What about the repairs? We had talked about sinking some repairs into
We
that.
have. We had it sprayed for bugs. I checked on that today. The building's been reported clear. I'm gonna have it sprayed again, just to be sure. Is Jones here? We had talked about the counters and the cabinets, and Public Works Director thinks that we can paint the cabinets and maybe get new countertops and put in there, and clean up the kitchen that way. Maybe get some new appliances, get rid of some stuff that's unnecessary, and start there and try to clean the kitchen up. And then we also need to address the bathrooms and gut them and remodel them. And
Have you got a timetable for that, Keith? Or
as
just
soon as leaf season's over.
as soon as all the leaves are up?
We, of course, for us to do it, we have to work around the seniors, so the kitchen is the big concern. The bathrooms, we could close one, remodel one, let them use the other one, and then switch it when we got ready to do that. The kitchen's gonna take a little more work, working around their schedule and not preventing them from delivering meals and getting in the way. If we strip and paint the cabinets instead of gutting the whole kitchen, that would probably allow it to maintain more usability and for us to stage the work and just put new countertops in it. And Victor thinks we can paint those and clean them up nice and make them look pretty good with new countertops.
What about your expansion idea you had?
One of the things, you know, we had talked about was expanding the library. I've been over there looking at the building. If there's a big storage room opposite of the library that has a connecting kind of a hallway with a wall in the middle. If we move that storage stuff out and purchased a building to store all of those materials in, we could open up that other room and it would double the library space. And if you all wish to do that, we can start looking at that. We would probably need to first get a storage building, get a quote to have one brought in and set down over there. And
What are you looking at, a 12 by 20, 10 by 12? What's
I'd say at least a 12 by 16, no smaller.
Okay.
And then move all those stored items out of that room and into the building, and then we could start remodeling that room, paint and clean, do a little bit of tile work, open the wall up and do the floor. It's just a bare concrete floor, which wouldn't take much to fix, but that would double the library space that's available.
For now, until we get a grant to build a library.
Yes. But it would be it wouldn't be too expensive, and it would be a quick way to double the space. I mean, that's quite a bit.
Well, why
when
don't
you
we
can-
look at that? Go ahead and get that rolling.
Yeah,
All right,
let's-
so you want me to go
let's,
ahead and get quotes on the
Yeah,
buildings?
let's get a
and see what
quote
we
on
can do?
one of those buildings that you talk about. I
Okay.
know that the traffic has picked up quite a bit for the library here locally.
It
Well, I
has.
spoke to the ones in Monterey too, and their library up there is awesome. They've got more computer terminals, people that don't have a computer, that need to do work, they can come to the library, they can do it. They have people helping them do taxes, helping them apply for jobs. I mean, that's just smart stuff
It is.
for the citizens here.
Yeah.
And if we don't have that, we're not giving back to the citizens like we should be.
Right.
The more we can give to them, the better we are.
I think we need to increase signage too, to allow
Yeah,
people to know
To
that
know
it's
where it's
there.
at.
To put up a nice sign saying All Good Public Library, and then on the back of the building, put a All Good Public Library in the entrance and kind of beef it up, I think would be a big thing.
Maybe a roof going in that door too, for the
Right.
library.
What are the possibilities of us getting a grant?
If you want to do it quick, the grant's going to slow you down. It depends on how fast turnaround you want to do this.
Well, this can happen now.
I mean, this could
About a
happen now.
for
The grant,
library.
I've already talked to Upcoming Development District. And we're looking down the road at what things are coming up that fit the projects that we want to kind of go for the next few years. And that was part of the work on the 5-year plan, was getting ideas of what projects and when, so I could tell them, hey, in this year, we would like to do this, so if you have something that fits it, please let me know.
So we need property.
And so we're
Right.
working on that, yes.
On that.
You'd have to have some property at some point to do that.
Any more discussion?
Could we make our old police and
Hall.
City Hall, the library?
The only problem with that is going to be accessibility, and the building, when we moved out of it, was in bad need of repair, electrical and lots of components. That building isn't very ADA accessible. If you're in a wheelchair or can't get around good, you can't really get into the building well. There's not a lot of place to park. It's all street side parking, and then you got to climb up the steps to get in it. So I don't think that's really going to fit what you want for the
Could use
library,
it for storage.
unless you went around back and retrofit it with an elevator, and then
You could look at
price
money.
just went up. So
Could we,
we could use it for storage.
maybe?
I mean, that's fine if that's what y'all want to do with it. We're going to have to address the roof. So we are going to have to address the roof repair, but if you want
What's
to
your
keep it,
suggestion? Use it for storage or get a 12 by 16?
we could move the stuff down there. I would just have to make sure that a lot of the stuff that's stored over there is senior center stuff, and so as long as they could access it, I think it would be okay.
You can't put a Band-Aid on a dam break. That's not
No.
gonna fix the problem.
No,
I think our best avenue there, as far as the storage for the library, is to go with this building that we discussed, and you get some quotes on it. There are so many issues with the old city hall, it's unbelievable. Number one is the roof, number two is the the OSHA found problems with the building. Thus, one of the main reasons you're sitting here tonight instead of down there. And thirdly, most of the property behind that building is owned by the Nashville and Eastern Railroad as a right-of-way. So we've got parking issues that we can't even begin to address if we want to use that building for some other public usage.
There's a reason we're here and we're not there, still
Correct.
there, so,
Yeah.
okay.
So I'll get quotes for a building for the community center. As far as Old City Hall, do you all want to address the roof?
What are we gonna end up bringing in there?
I'm not sure.
It needs to be some form of entertainment of something. Didn't we talk about the train station coming in there one time, the model train?
Well, you've talked about that. Again, you go back to the issue of accessibility and what all you're gonna have to do with the building to bring it up. You could use it for all of those things. We talked about one time retrofitting the back of it for a farmer's market, give it a nice train depot look in the bays and add a section onto the back to allow for a new stairwell and elevator, but you're talking quite substantial to bring it up to those codes. And then again, you're crossing into railroad right of way, so you gotta be careful how far you get back. And of course, we could lease it from railroad, but that enters another realm of expense long-term if you rent it. Of course, Dr. Hurd has
It's an
rented.
initial part of, the original downtown Allgood, the
It is.
older part of town. And, we've banged around ideas so much about how to revitalize it or to make it look better. And we always come back to this point right here where we can make suggestions, but we're still at the point where our hands behind our back, we can't smile, salute, or wave on this thing yet.
How much are you looking at to fix it to where it's accessible to use?
Victor, do you remember the last quote we got from Matthew Tucker?
I think it was like 300-something thousand.
We worked at, I can get you the plan and the numbers. And another thing we've done too is the Tennessee Downtowns program, which is a grant. I talked to Upper Cumberland Development District. We were trying to get into that for 2016. We just couldn't get everything lined out. And I talked to her again about that. The next round of the Tennessee Downtown program will be in 2018. However, the way the program is leaning now, it has to have a board that runs it, and it cannot be made up of government officials. It has to be a grassroots business, downtown business group kind of running it. They have to have a board to apply for the grant and do those kinds of things.
Could we put an ad in the paper for locals who would want to be part of the board?
We could, but the next round's gonna be 2018, so I think right now you're going a little early. I can get with Upper Cumberland Development District, kind of get a timeline of what we need to start putting things together and when we would need to have that board ready, and then I think we could prepare it and kind of move that forward.
Can we just go ahead and put that in our 5-year plan?
We could. We've also got the farmer's market and the train depot and the park that we've talked about, and so kind of shuffling these things around where you guys want them to fall is kind of where we're at right now.
Well, on this particular issue, the city hall, though, we still have a roof problem that we've got to address.
That's
It's
correct.
not gonna change the floor plan of that anyway. We're still gonna have to have a roof to it.
Right.
So you're gonna have, that needs to be addressed now. Have we got estimates
Do
on?
we have estimates or quotes on that?
We have not yet, because I want to make sure which direction you all wanted to go.
Bid out for it.
So you want to do
Let's put a bid out for that
roof.
roof, and get it looked at, and I guess 30-day window next month, we could probably have
I can
some
try to have
estimates
it
on it.
ready for you for my next
Okay.
month.
Okay.
Depending on the cost, we may have to revamp it and go sealed bid. I'll have to see kind of where the quotes fall, and if they're under 8,000, we can do it by quote. If not, we'll have to do a sealed bid process.
All right, any other discussion on the old City Hall building? Okay, next, the last discussion item is the fire hall plan.
Wait a minute. For the community center, can we go ahead and start a grant process to have money brought in for new computers or electronics or something?
It's done through the library
It's
and
through the
Putnam County Library, and yes, they
Library
can
does
do that, and we've talked to them. And so yes, they've been working on that and getting new programs, and you all have funded some new programs for the computers, and so the usage is up. And so once we get the space, the library staff said they'd be glad to sit down with us, start writing grants to expand the library offering. One of the big things up front was expanding the amount of books that are available for circulation here. With more space, they could separate out children's and adult books and have a wider variety available for circulation, so.
And they already have those on hand.
They already
It wasn't
have those
something
on
that had to be
hand, so-
purchased.
I'd like to start that process soon.
Okay, we'll get those numbers together then.
Okay.
We don't need to, I mean, the 12 by 16, you can just go out and get, right? We don't need to vote on that.
We'll have to vote on it, I think,
Yeah.
once I get quotes.
You know, you could rent those, pods, isn't it called pods?
Yeah, but you'd be renting them long-term.
I think
Yeah,
it-
you better off to build.
I think you're
Build it.
better off to just go ahead and either build or buy this building outright, and that way, if and when we do make a new library, or we decide to expand what we want, we still have that building under, we can use it or move it to wherever we may need it.
Victor always needs an extra building.
I think, that's my personal opinion, I think that's our best avenue is to go ahead and get, bids on that building and get it to us, and we'll just move on from there.
Okay.
All right, if there's no other discussion on the old city hall, move us to our last item, the fire hall plan.
The fire hall plan, I've put you a revised plan in front of you. There's still a couple things I think we're gonna have to address. One's gonna be that, there's no shower in the bathrooms in the new wing of the fire hall. And we're gonna try to move some things around. We inset the kitchen into the turnout gear room to allow the meeting room to be expanded. We've tried to make sure we have accessible doors and hallways leading out to the truck bay, which is for 6 trucks. It's 3 bays, front and back. One of the things that we made sure we addressed was that over the new meeting and office space in the fire hall, those are going to be load-bearing walls, so that in the future, if we need to come back and add space above those, we can very easily come in and floor it and have those available for additional space if we need it.
How many bays of the original fire hall that's sitting there now, how many bays are gonna be needed for Putnam County EMS? 2?
2 bays.
Okay,
3rd bay will be used to keep the older fire truck that we've had for a while.
okay.
And then all the new equipment, all the currently used equipment would go in the new fire hall expansion.
Okay. Any other discussion on fire hall?
Well, I like where it's headed here. Do we have any lead, so to speak, from AEI on this, or?
We were still finalizing and tweaking this plan. One of the things I think we need to look at is emergency power. Currently, there's a generator down there that runs the current fire hall. We have some options if we move that over to the new fire hall. It's not going to run both. It's not big enough. It would either have to stay on the old fire hall for the ambulance service and our current truck, the old truck, or it could be moved to the new fire hall. I'm not sure if it's big enough to power that new one or not, would it?
I think it will. I mean, no more really, we're not really putting a whole lot of power into that building.
Okay.
A few lines and plugs and stuff like that.
And the heat's going to be gas in the bay, so most of your expansion would be bay. It might could run it. The
Well,
other.
let me ask you
But if
this.
not, if we didn't move that generator, we could always put a connection up there, because we're setting, if you have a storm, you know, that's gonna take a lot of power out, we have a generator that we can go in there and plug into the building and bring it back up there.
Okay, you just answered my question. Do we not have a generator we got through the LISO program that we could,
Yes.
so we could basically do a, correct me if I'm wrong, do a quick connect type system?
Just like we do our sewer lift station.
But your
Okay.
ISO don't recognize that. It has to be a permanent setting. That's where we got it the last time, because we had the system we had, right, Lloyd? He came out and we got high marks for that. That gave us our points. When you don't move that generator and you put like a temporary fix, you're gonna tow over it, you
Then we
may,
need to upgrade that generator to a bigger one then.
you're gonna have to, if you wanna keep your ISO, if it
We'll have
doesn't
to add a
work.
generator to it,
Yeah.
yeah, permanent.
Well, there's your answer. Anything else that the AEI has mentioned on this, Keith, that we need to look at, or?
Not at this point. We're still making sure we tweak this floor plan completely before we go out. And as soon as we get this tweaked, I think they'll be ready to present a plan to you all to possibly put out to bid. So,
Okay, good.
Have you found any more information out about the property beside Flippin' Burgers?
Just what I sent you in the email is all we know at this point. Got those 2 pieces of property there, possibly a third one. Price is quite substantial, but that's those 3 pieces of property.
Okay. Any other discussion on the fire hall plan? If not, that leads us to the department heads.
Anything?
Nothing? Okay. Next item is the hearing of citizens and/or delegations. If you'd like to speak, please approach the podium, directing your comments directly to the chair.
Lieutenant did good on the AR-15s. Somewhere I saw a report of inventory, and it had like the vest and the, how many shotguns you had and how many Berettas you had, and there's something like 12 shotguns. And then while ago was talking something about 4 per, that would give us 1 per state. What about the other ones, or did I see something wrong, or they been sold, or what?
I think what they're referring to was they had that many to be sold for surplus. They were wanting to buy 4, 1 for each shift, which would be only 4 new ones that they would have. That was my
I
understanding.
guess what I'm saying, I saw something that said we had 12 already.
We actually declared,
9 of them.
9 of them were declared surplus prior to, and we looked at the ones that we thought were gonna be.
Oh, okay, so they've already been.
Yes,
got
so
them.
there was a total of 14, 9 previously. What we had was some that were assigned, I thought were still in good workable condition. After further review, we figured out those weren't really gonna work for us, and so we went ahead and got the other 5. So it gives us a total of 14 to clear out, and then we'll start replacing.
Okay, that's something didn't make it. All right, thank you.
Okay. Any others?
You don't want me to stand up.
Okay.
I was told that, the creek deal up there over on William Square had been turned over to the state.
TDEC is issuing a permit to do some more bank retention up at the top of the bank right now. The state's still having to permit all the work we're doing on it, yes.
That's what we're holding up on?
Yes.
When are you gonna let us know about it?
As soon as she releases it, she says she's working on a permit for bank stabilization at the end right now. And it should be in the mail, she said, in the next few weeks.
Don't put it in the paper, because I don't get the paper.
We'll come tell you.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other discussion? Any other items? Okay, if not,
I move adjournment.
Second.
all right.